Sometimes to do something right you have to start over, and that's exactly what Sector 3 Studios did in their recent RaceRoom Racing Experience June update. They discarded their whole force feedback system and implemented a new one. If this was worth it, how it feels, and why RaceRoom may even be the best Formula Sim overall now, we'll show you in today's video. To understand why this June update is so special, we first have to take a look at what the last status was and why changes had to be made. The special word in all of this is cans. No, not those, we mean canned effects, the term for artificial effects that mimic the car's behavior on track through force feedback. This impacts over and understeer effects when the wheel got lighter on the edge of traction or, and as a prime example, the rumbling when you drive over curbs. You see, in the past, with the old force feedback system, the generated vibration of the FFB was actually never related to the curb itself. The game knew that you were driving over a curb at a given time, and just decided to play the rumbling effect fresh out of its can. As this is the kind of microwave version of force feedback, some players avoided R3E altogether. In our eyes, this system of ready-made effects gave RaceRoom this distinct handling on how the game feels to play. Maybe not 100% accurate to life, but regardless, the track and car were always fun. One big downside of this was that the weight of a car and also the stiffness of the suspension wasn't really translated to the player, leading to completely different car builds feeling almost the same. This has changed now. With a 100% physics-based, all-new force feedback system, let's have a look at how it turned out. One of the most burning questions is, how does it feel? Does it feel good? Well, yes, it does. The communicated feedback from the car to the player is much clearer than before. Over and understeer can be counteracted faster, and the effects for bumps and curbs are immersive and believable. What really impressed us was how you can feel the steering turn light under shifting weight on tracks with a lot of altitude, like Portimao for example. Also, the limit of traction on each of your tires can now be better understood. A good example of this is the overhauled F4 Tatus, with which we had oversteering issues in the old version. On some high-speed parts of any track, when you would try to chuck the car into fast corners, the rear would just say, "Thanks for having me, bye," and one would fold the car into the next barrier. Now, oversteer is still a steady companion when driving the Tatus, but as you can feel the limit more clearly, you immediately understand how far you can go and how pointy you can direct the car into a turn. And we think that's just awesome. Generally speaking, all Formula cars we tested felt great and gave you that sensation of driving a lightweight open-wheeler with far too much power on the limit. The Formula 90, F3, F4 were all superbly done. Maybe RaceRoom is even one of the best games to play Formula cars overall right now. How about Sector 3 do the next F1 game? We think that would be great fun. But anyway, is the new FFB even good for all cars? It should be, but we think that some of the cars, especially older ones, may need some tweaking going forward. The sensation we had driving the Formula cars was nowhere to be seen driving the McLaren 650S or even Corvette C6, but as this class of cars offers so many different brands to choose from, this surely varies from car to car. We think that at this point in time, R3E may even have some more trump cards in other classes, but think that the groundwork is now laid out so that the GT3 class can become great in the future. Then, no matter how you twist things around, the new FFB is really great and has a lot of potential with the right tweaking of cars, which we've already seen done by Sector 3 with the overhauled Formula cars. Another game with a lot of potential is AMS2, which we just did a recent review for their newest update, Racing USA. If you want to know how that one turned out, you can find a link in the top right corner. The new FFB sounds great, but what else has changed? Plenty. Let's start with a look at the all-new replay system. As you might have noticed, RaceRoom can now produce stunning track shots where you can let out your inner Steven Spielberg. With the option of placing keyframes on a timeline, moving the camera more freely and some new effects, RaceRoom is now ready to be used as a movie-making tool, which will gift us some awesome content here on Overtake. Wow, look at this! If you don't want to miss out on more of that, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. But let's move on to the graphics. The new update comes with better tire smoke and particle effect. It doesn't take the visuals to the next level, but it's nice to have. The UI got some updates as well. especially in the force feedback department where you can now clearly see what you're doing if you change any of the parameters. What we liked were the dissolute descriptions explaining everything you need to know about each knob, and that there were recommendations according to your wheelbase's output torque. And last but not least, as of now, all cars can be tested before buying on every free track available, unlike before where the fictional RaceRoom Raceway was the only test track you could choose. Seems like a little thing, but helps many racers competing in private racing leagues which often solely rely on the free tracks available. So, how do we like this new update? We think it's awesome. RaceRoom now has the unique opportunity to challenge some of the bigger competitors in the sim racing scene. This is all due to the fact that their force feedback system doesn't have to hide from iRacing, Assetto & Co. With the already well-made online racing system in place, RaceRoom could advance to an A-tier sim racing title that unites many players under one roof. Have you tried the new update? Did you like it? Let us know down below. And also check out our last video on the top right, as well as our video about the best online racing games below, to find out more about RaceRoom's genius rating system. And that's it from me today. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time. Cheers.